Good morning everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2013 R2. A fantastic update to a great product and one that's important to both us and to you. My name is Paul Ince. I'm the Applications Product Director for TSG. I'm joined today by people many of you will know. Dave Rawes, who's our NAV Product Leader, and Sarah Harrison, who's one of our NAV product specialists. Now I appreciate that you can't physically see us, so that may be a blessing, but it's always nice to put a face to the name, so here we are. I'm afraid these are the best photos that we could find, which is slightly worrying in Dave's case. Now we're with you for no more than an hour, so I hope that you've made your cup of tea and enjoy your Kit Kat as we go through the session. In terms of the agenda today, Sarah will start by going through what's new in R2 and give you a demonstration of the product and its new features. Then Dave will talk through some of the commercials that you need to know, and we'll round it off with a Q&A session at the end. Now, before I pass over to Sarah, a couple of points of orders on the technicalities of the webinar. As you'll have probably heard, all microphones are muted to avoid any background noise. So if you do have a question for us, please enter that in the question box. I'll be collating all questions during the webinar, and Dave, Sarah and I will answer as many as we can at the end. Now I can see who poses which question, so if we do run out of time, or if the question is very specific to you, then we'll follow that up after the webinar. And with that, I'll hand over to Sarah.
Thank you, Paul, and good morning to you all. Today I'm going to talk to you about and demonstrate some of the new features in Dynamics NAV 2013 and 2013 R2. R2 is the latest release of Dynamics NAV, which became available in October this year. As you may be aware, R2's predecessor, Dynamics NAV 2013, was released in October last year, and this was a significant release of the software, as we saw the end of the classic client and the move towards a fully integrated Microsoft business solution, providing you with seamless integration to other Microsoft products, SharePoint, SQL reporting and Dynamics CRM. This provides you with a wealth of functionality across the suite of products. This release also brought a number of key application changes to the software, with the introduction of cash flow forecasting, cost accounting, assembly management and timeline visualization, amongst many others. A number of you will be running on Dynamics NAV 2009 or versions prior to this, and we are certain that there are many compelling features available to you from the version that you're running now to the version NAV 2013 R2 that you'll see today. This release is proof of the ongoing commitment from Microsoft to develop the software and provide you, the end user, with greater business value in each annual release. What you see today will provide you with an introduction into some of the additional functionality available to you by choosing to upgrade to NAV 2013 R2. So now if I move on to something for you all to see. Okay, so today I'll be working from the Accounting Manager's Role Centre. So for those of you who are not familiar with the role-tailored client, it was first introduced with NAV 2009, and it's designed to provide each user with their own homepage based around their job role. So the NAV 2013 Windows client saw the move towards a client which provided you with a look and feel of Microsoft Office, with the ribbon menu that you see here along the top and the navigation pane that you see down the left-hand side. You will also see features introduced throughout NAV, such as the backward and forward you see when navigating around Explorer. So for us to select customers, and I might want to look at my balance, and then I can simply hit the backwards button here, and it takes me back to my role centre, back to my front screen. And this is where the majority of people are comfortable, because it's something that's familiar to them, and this in turn then obviously leads to easier navigation around NAV, as they've already been using other products such as Excel or Outlook in their daily activities. This look and feel has now been extended in R2 with the flattened design that you see today and the tile features that come with Windows 8. You receive a choice of 23 standard role centers with 2013 R2, and then each user can then customize their role center, giving them the ability to prioritize their tasks and activities and therefore work more productively. So each page has this navigation option at the top where they can choose to customize and customize their page. I'm able to move information up and down, move it across to the right here, or I could remove it completely from the screen. Then simply select OK, refreshes my screen and moves the information around. Can also do the same with the ribbon at the top. If I right click and customize the ribbon, I'm able to promote key activities that I might want to perform. So on a regular basis, I might run the reminders, so I want to make that more prominent. So I'll come down here to receivables, I'll select my reminders, and then I can just change that to be a larger icon, for example. Again, just press OK, my screen refreshes, and you can see here that it's increased the size of that particular icon. Okay. So as well as the look and feel of Microsoft Office, NAV 2013 R2 is also seamlessly integrated with the product. So if I come down to Customers, to my reports, take in a customer detailed aging report as an example, and I'll just run this report to screen. Straight away you can already see the integration here. I can export my report to Excel, PDF or Word. I also have the option of a key contact on each individual customer. So once I've called the customer and spoke to them about their outstanding debts, I'm then able to select the customer, select the contact, and then straight away it has a link into Outlook. I can then put the details into the email and send that away to the customer as a follow-up. Okay, so while I'm on my list of customers, I'd also like to create a simple report. So I'd like to look at customers on hold, for example. So what I can do is add the columns that I need on screen. So if I right click on here, I can choose columns. So as you're aware, the on hold feature within NAV is blocked, so I can add this column. And again, I can just move this up on here. I can also add a freeze pane, again bringing through functionality from Excel, so that then holds the name and number as I have my various columns and scroll across. And then again I can add any other columns that I need. Okay, that refreshes the screen, and as you can see it's holding the number and name there by adding that pane. So I'm now going to apply my filter so that I can just look at customers on hold. Okay. So that's all very well and good. I've got the report on screen, but I'd now like to export this to Excel. I can hit the Export to Excel button from my ribbon at the top here, and straight away it creates the view within Excel itself. So as I've been working through these list of customers that are on hold, I noticed one of my customers, Highlights Electronic, has settled their account and needs to be removed from hold. So I'll come back into NAV, edit this customer, and I can remove this block feature on here. So that's fine, that's now reflected on screen within NAV. If I come back into my report, I don't want to have to re-export the report. I can simply come into Excel. I now have a Dynamics NAV option here, hit refresh, and you can see those changes are reflected within Excel as well. Okay. So I'll just move back to my role center. So if I remove this filter, additional integration with Microsoft Office products is the integration with OneNote. So if I take one of my customers, again I can select the option at the top here to choose OneNote, and then it opens my page on the right hand side. So the advantage of this is that I'm able to add and organize any meeting notes, as you can see in this example. I could add any pictures or other media that I had from a meeting and that was relevant to this particular customer record. And then these notes can then be accessed at any time outside of NAV, so they can be accessed on the go. So it gives you that advantage of people that don't have access to NAV can also access these notes that you've put into OneNote. Okay. I'll just close that down. So the next thing I'd like to show you is Jet Reports. Jet Reports Express for Microsoft Dynamics NAV is a free reporting tool. It enables you to create ad hoc reports using a simple interface within Excel. It provides you with access to all the tables within NAV, including any custom fields and advanced dimensions that you have configured. It then allows you to take advantage of Excel's existing capabilities, such as charts and pivot tables, to build your reports. So the reports that you can see on screen at the moment are a suite of pre-built reports that are available to you, and they're both easy to use and modified to suit your current business requirements. So if I take one of these reports as an example, I'll take the sales dashboard report, open this report. I'll just make that smaller so you can see it on screen. So what you can see is you can quite easily use the slice and dice information. So I might want to look at it by customer, and then it changes accordingly if I remove that filter, or I might want to look at it by item, and again all the information on screen changes alongside that. Okay, so this is one of the standard suite of reports, but to give you an example of how easy it is to create your own report, I'm just going to open up an existing template. Okay. So in this example, what I'd like to do is pull through some budget values by department from NAV. So once you've got Jet Express installed, you will receive the Jet ribbon within Excel that we're having a look at the moment. And you have the function here to pull out general ledger information. So it's general ledger budget that I'm interested in. So I'll select the field I'd like to put this into, and I'll choose general ledger. I've also got the help feature available within this function. So whichever field I'm on, it will give you a description of what you're pulling out and what you want to perform. So if I select what, I can see that I'm able to pull out balance information, any debits or credits, or in the case of this report, I'm interested in looking at the GL budget. So I'll select budget. I also want to know what account that relates to. So again, I can either type that in, I can choose from my drop-down list, or I can use a cell reference within Excel. So I'll select the field in here. And again, we'll do that the same with the start date and the end date. So I can reference the cell here, just type that in, and I'd like to fix that. And the same with the end date, fix that one as well. So we can also use the analysis views that we have set up within NAV. I'd like to look at my departmental expenses one. And then I can choose the department code that I'm interested in, so it's admin in this case. So again, I'll drop that down and I'll choose admin. I want to look at the 2014 budget. If I have multiple companies, I can select which company I want to look at, otherwise it will just take the default company that you can see displayed in the background. So I'm quite happy with that. I'll select OK. You can see it brings me through this value, then I can simply copy it down for the other GL codes along the left-hand side there. So that's bringing the information out of NAV, and then as I said, you can use standard Excel functionality, so I might want to add some totals. I'll come back to my home page and just auto sum those, for example. I might want to add some charting information. So I can come in here and insert pie chart, for example. Just move this over to the right-hand side. Once you're quite happy with the report, you can then save it at this point. Then all you simply need to do each time as you come in is hit the refresh button, and it will refresh the data according to what's currently in NAV, so it's pulling through live data. So I'll come back to my role center again, back into NAV. So aside to the integration with Microsoft Office and the functionalities with the Jet reports, there are many other features that make 2013 R2 an attractive prospect to yourself as the end user. And some of the key functionality changes in R2 are based around cash management. So this is an area which has been significantly enhanced around the handling and disbursement of cash. And the first area I'd like to look at with you today is the payment registration window. So I'll open this up from my role center. And the payment registration window is designed to ensure effective collection of cash from your customers. So each line that you see on screen represents a sales document where there is an amount due for payment. So I'm able to filter by the different columns just by selecting them on here. I might want to look at them by document number, for example. Okay. So in the first example I want to look at today, it's just a single payment from a customer, and it's payment of this invoice that we have highlighted, invoice 009. So straight away I can select payment made. Actually what the customer's paid to me is not the 50,000, it's the 49,762 here we see. So again I can overwrite that and put the amount in that's actually paid. And as you can see here, what it's reflecting is that the payment discount date has been exceeded, and it's actually going to register this as a partial payment and leave the 1,015 outstanding. I'm actually quite happy to let the customer take that settlement discount, so I can just change the payment discount date to the work date, and then it will then leave that with the remaining amount 0 on account and take that difference as settlement discount. So I'm quite happy with that, and I can just hit post payment. Okay, so the next payment that comes in is a lump sum. So I've got several invoices that a customer is paying. So this time I'm going to filter by my customer name, because all my payments are for the Canon group. I can then again come to payments made, select the invoices I'm interested in on here. Quite happy that that's everything they've paid, and hit post as lump payment. So finally, I've also received payment from a customer, but I can't find the invoice number on screen. I've got the details from them, the value and the invoice number. So I'm just going to use the search feature to see if I can find this particular document. So I've got the document number, which I'll tap into here. And I put in the amount as well, the £420 that they're paying. I'm actually going to put a slight tolerance in there just to pick up if there's any difference with their figures. And as you can see, it's now going to search for documents between these two amounts on here. So I'll just hit search. Straight away it's found that document number, but it's a sales order and not a sales invoice. So if I just select show to drill into the details, you can see that there is the amount £420, but that's actually the amount less VAT. So now I know I can go away and have the conversation with the customer and rectify their underpayment. In the meantime, if I'd like to post that amount on their account, I can select General Journal from within the registration window. I can choose that this is a payment from our customer. I put the customer reference in here, and they can simply enter the amount. And I've got nothing to apply this to at this point in time, so I'll just hit post and post that on account. Okay. So that's the completion of the payment registration window. So now I'd like to move back to my role centre, and another one of the features I'd like to show you is the bank account reconciliation. We frequently get asked about the ability to import bank statements and automatically match these to the bank ledger entries within NAV. So if I open up the bank account screen, in this example you can see I've already imported the bank statement, which is the details that you can see here on the left hand side, and over on the right is your bank account ledger entries that have been posted within NAV. So the first thing I want to do is use the auto matching functionality, and that takes 5 of the key fields from your bank account ledger entries in NAV and matches these up against your bank statement. So I'll choose to match automatically, and then I'll say OK. It runs through, and you can see, as it says on screen, 6 of the lines have been matched. So I'm OK with that, and it highlights in green the one it's been able to match. So now I can have a look on the left hand side at the ones left in black and just see why these haven't matched up. So if I take these 2 bank transfers as an example, you can clearly see on the right hand side that we've got those transactions, the amounts match up, but it's just the date here that's slightly different. So at this point I could manually match those, or again if I rerun the automatic matching, you can see we have a tolerance in there. So if I put a couple of days tolerance in and OK that, it runs through again, and now you can see 8 of the 9 have been matched. So the very last outstanding transaction on here, you can see we've got the invoice number matches up with the document number on here, but it's actually the amount that seems to have been transposed. So it's either an issue with the customer overpayment, obviously it's been entered incorrectly into NAV. So because I want to deal with that after I want to settle the bank statement and post it, what I can do at this point is add an additional line. So I'm going to copy the features from above, and this time I'm just going to add it as a difference, and the difference being £18. Okay. So I can now enter this amount to match NAV, and I can highlight the option on the left and the transaction on the right and to choose to manually match those. Okay. So now we've got everything matched on screen. I'm quite happy with that. I want to post the reconciliation, and it posts away, and then the difference can be dealt with at a later date and reconciled in the next bank statement. Alongside the ability to import bank statements into the bank account reconciliation screen, they've also added this additional function into general ledgers. So if I open a general ledger to show you that's an example, we've got the import bank statement feature here, and then we've also got the apply automatically as well. So very similar functionality to we saw in the bank statement can also be done in the general journal. Okay. So moving back again to my role center, back to my home page, I'd like to move on from cash management and show you some of the features. So if we just have a look at the activities pane here, what we can see is we've got the addition of incoming documents. What incoming documents is a document scan and approval process for any documents that are coming into the business. So an example would be any payment receipts for expenses or purchase invoices from suppliers, for example. So if I drill into our incoming documents and have a look what we have, I can edit this list. And here you can see the document that's been scanned in, and this can be scanned in either to a SharePoint document library, or it might just be simply shared into a network share. So I can select the document and open up the original. And as you can see here, we've got an invoice from our catering company. And it's a function that happened on the 24th of October. I know that went ahead, so I'm able to approve this. So again, if I just close that down, I'm quite happy for that to be processed, so I'll hit approve, and it's removed from my screen. Coming back to the role center, you can now see that this moved into an approved incoming document. Come into here, very similar screen, edit list. Again, if I want to view the original document, I can select that from here and view it on screen. And this is the point where I'd like to take the details from the document and actually create a purchase invoice. And I can choose to do that at the top here. So if I select purchase invoice, I'll just add the details. So I have my supplier. I've also got the invoice number as well, so I'll pop that in here. And then I'm just going to post my line. So if we just post this through to entertaining expenses, and we know we're 22 of those. And same again, just post the additional line for my delivery expenses on there as well. Just got one of those at £2.50. I can just use my statistics then just to check my total. So I've got 161.40 on there. If you just come into the invoice, you can see that you've got that on screen at the bottom. So I'm quite happy that that all matches up. So I can hit post and post my invoice. If I then want to see this document that was attached against the purchase invoice, again coming back to my role center, back to my home page, if I open up this particular supplier and go to their ledger entries, you can see the invoice that we posted. If I hit incoming documents, then it again opens up the original document, so you're able to see where that came from and see that scanned document. So the next thing I'm going to move on to is the creation of reoccurring sales invoices. And the first thing to show you is the ability to set up standard sales codes. So this is something that's already available to you within NAV. So if we open standard sales codes, and we'll just view these so you can see an example. So all a standard sales code is a template for sales documents that you create on a regular basis. So here you can see we have a monthly consultancy. And if I just move down, you can also see that I can do things with items, and in this case we've got a basic office package on there as well. So once I've set up my template, I would then come to my customer. So if we open up John Haddock as an example, and we can actually look at the standard sales codes that we've applied to that customer. You can see here that we've got both the monthly consultancy on there and also the basic office package. So what the additional functionality is within NAV 2013 R2 is you're able to put specific payment method codes and payment term codes. You're also able to set up direct debit mandates so you can collect money directly from the customer. So once you're happy that they're set up and how often you want to run those, I select OK. And then I can run this on a periodic basis to create my recurring sales invoices. So I can put the date in, which I'm just going to put as today's date. If I want to filter by any of the customer information, I could do it by a specific customer, for example. And then hit OK, and it creates my 2 invoices. So if I come across to sales invoices, you can now see we've got those on screen. So if I just view that, here you can see it's applied the resource of Mark Hanson for the consultancy. If I just move down to the second invoice, you can see here the set of items that they also purchase on a regular basis. Okay, so one of the final areas which I'd like to touch upon is the additional client options that have been available to you from NAV 2013. So we have the introduction of the web client and also the SharePoint client. So if I bring you into the web client to show you, I'll open this up. So the introduction of the web client in particular has allowed companies to move on to be more productive. They have more productive users as they're able to access now from virtually any device and with any internet browser, and basically that gives them ability to do that wherever they are. So I'll just select OK here. Okay. So what you are now looking at is the latest version of the web client, which again has been restyled to align with Microsoft Office 365. And what it also now provides you with is some features and functionality that were only previously available with the Windows client. So you can see that you've got a look and feel again very similar to that of the Windows client that we've been looking at today. So we're able to hide and display the ribbon just by clicking on the ribbon at the top here. I'm able to drill down into my customers, open up an existing screen. I can edit a customer, for example. If I want to add information, I'm able to do that from here. So I might want to add a new sales code. You can put new information in here. We can save that. And then we're able to save the customer from there. Some of the other functionality that we're able to do is we can run reports from here. So again, if I take a customer report, so you've got the report option on here, and I might take customer top 10 list. You now are able to filter your reports, which wasn't available in the previous version. And again, you have that flexibility of integration because you can send it out to PDF, Word, or Excel. Okay, so that brings me to the end of the demonstration of Dynamics NAV 2013 R2. I hope you found it useful and gained some insight into some of the possibilities that are available to you. Before I pass you over, I would like to take this opportunity to let you know that we will be planning a follow-on webinar early next year. What we'll be concentrating on is the demonstration of further functionality from this release, specifically based around the offering of NAV in Microsoft Office 365, and also the integration with SharePoint Online and having it hosted on Windows Azure. So thank you again for listening, and I'll now pass you over to Dave.
Good morning, everyone. I'm now going to run through what I referred to and what Paul referred to as introduction as the commercial bit, to explain what the implications are in making the upgrade to 2013. In 2013 R2, Microsoft had taken the opportunity to majorly simplify pricing, and in doing that they've actually taken it down from a price list that many of you will remember that had about 150 different items you can pick. The one basically has just 5 simple sections to it. The first section is what we're going to refer to as the starter pack, and the starter pack actually gives you the basic functionality. Sales, purchase nominal, invoicing stock, SOP, POP are basically what's included inside the starter pack. The extended pack gives you extended functionality, and then we have 2 forms of users. We have full users and limited users, and then the very last part of it is we have what we're going to call the development tools and objects, which is where the bespoke is written that we write for you and where certain of you develop your own software. That's it. It's basically a much simplified price list and makes it much easier for all of us to understand and give you pricing back quickly. The extended pack is obviously an addition to the starter pack. You have to have the starter pack before you can add in the extended pack. The extended pack primarily gives you functionality in 4 areas. Those 4 areas are manufacturing, service management, job costing, and advanced warehousing. In the manufacturing, for the first time, it is not extra granules that you need to buy to turn it into a full manufacturing solution. The purchase of the extended pack gives you all that functionality in one offering and at one price for all your users. It's also worth mentioning to many of you who use job costing that the job costing was rewritten in 2009 and continually is being developed by Microsoft to bring in extra functionality. Okay, one of the key things most people are interested in is what they actually receive as the upgrade. Microsoft, for all customers who have a current enhancement plan, actually provide the software on a like-for-like upgrade free of charge. Now, this is actually for many of you going to be more than a like-for-like upgrade, and you'll actually gain extended and additional functionality over you have now. Now, there's a very complicated matrix which defines exactly what you get, but I'm not going to pull that up because Microsoft has spent many hours trying to explain it to us, and so I've turned this into what I believe is a nice simple one that basically works for 99.9% of customers. If you have a product called Standard, which is now very rare out there, you actually receive the starter and the extended pack. If you have the professional professional version, you get the starter and the extended pack. If you have one of the 2 business ready versions, which is in this case Business Essentials, you only receive the starter pack, and if you have advanced management at the moment, you receive the starter and the extended pack. Obviously, if you're already on 2013, you receive the R2 release free of charge. Okay. Microsoft have also decided to create an offer for those people whose upgrade path only takes them to the standard pack. And what they've actually done is they've actually created what they refer to as a half price offer, for the very simple reason that the software is half price of what the normal list price is, and that price is £2,959 instead of £5,918. What is also again slightly different from this version of the pricing is that extended pack actually applies to all the users on your system, so there's no additional cost for each user. On top of those prices, that price you have there, you will also find there is Microsoft Enhancement, which unfortunately is based upon the list price of the software, and also TSG support, which again is based on the list price of the software.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Thank you, Sarah. Now it's time for some questions and answers. We've had a few questions in, so what I'm going to do is just pose those questions to either Dave or Sarah or myself if it's relevant. And like I said at the beginning, if there's any particular questions that are particular to you, then I've got those details and we'll address those separately with you. Okay, so the first question is for Dave. I'm going to put it to Dave. What are the hardware requirements for NAV 2013 R2?
Okay, a lot of the features in NAV 2013 R2 were basically designed to take advantage of new technology and basically advantage in various other products. There are, again, slightly differing requirements depending on actually what you want to do with the system. And so rather than actually give a generic answer, which is only correct for some of you, what I prefer to say is that we will arrange for our technical teams to do an audit of your infrastructure and advise you of any areas that require upgrade for you to basically release the features and benefits available in the new product. So what we will do is when we do any of the quotes, we'll make sure this is done for you, and so you can actually see the entire price of the project and what it will end up in total for you.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Next question is around upgrading. If I upgrade to 2013 R2, what effect does this have on my annual enhancement and support? So I'll give that one to you, Dave, as well.
Thanks very much, Paul. Microsoft protect the list price of your software when you move from one version to another. This is the value the enhancement is calculated on. At the moment, Microsoft charge 16% of this value per annum, and no change in this has been communicated to us. So whatever the protected value of your software is at this moment in time, providing you have a current enhancement, it will be the same value will be attributed to your new software. This effectively means that there will be no change in the Microsoft enhancement charge that you're paying at the moment. With regards to support, it's not TSG's intention to change the values of any support contracts as a result of this upgrade. Of course, under one proviso, that is, if additional software or modifications are added during the upgrade process. If it's basically an absolutely straight upgrade with no additions, the support price you pay at the moment will stay as your support price. Thanks, Paul.
Okay, next question I'm going to pose to Sarah. Sarah, what versions of Excel can I use with NAV 2013 R2?
Okay, thank you, Paul. With NAV 2013 R2, Microsoft Office 2010, 2013 and Office 365 are supported. With the JET reports that we looked at today, that's been available with Dynamics NAV since 2009 and supports Excel 2007, 2010 and 2013 as well. Some of the features and functionalities you've seen today are enhanced further in the later versions of Excel, and also the associated Power products coming forward with Microsoft will add further functionality to what you can then produce. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Next question, when will the next release of the product be? I'll take this one. Now, Microsoft are committed to one release per annum, and that's normally in October. So what we'll be doing around that is additional webinars on the next release which we're predicting will be in November. Sorry, the webinars rather will be in November and December next year for all of our customers. So, assuming that you've enjoyed today's, then we'll make sure that we communicate that to you so that you can book yourselves on one of those next year as well. Next question. This is a good one, this one. If I use the web client, what speed of connection will be required? I'll give that one to Sarah.
Okay, thank you. So the web client is actually designed for light use, occasional use. It's not something that we recommend to be used on a daily basis, although it does offer you obviously a lot of the same functionality as we explained with the Windows client. The speed itself, it does depend on what you're doing, but the client is a very thin client. It also has the ability to run on many of your major web browsers. So as long as you have that connection, you have that 3G connection on your mobile, for example, or any of your devices, then your connection should be absolutely fine. Thanks.
Thanks, Sarah. Next question, I'm going to give this one to Dave. Jet Reports was demonstrated, and we've mentioned it as a reporting method. Does this take an NAV license?
Okay, good question, this one. This is one that was asked many times originally. So I probably should have put it in the presentation. I probably should have put it in the presentation earlier. Jet requires a user to have either a full or limited license, but only if they're refreshing the data. It's obviously because this uses Excel functionality as the reporting method, it's possible to create the report with Jet into Excel and then either distribute it as an attachment to an email or of course publish it on SharePoint. So if the user isn't required to be able to refresh it, you don't require any NAV user at all. It's probably also worth mentioning at this point that there are 3 versions of Jet Reports. The one you've actually seen is basically it's the standard one that ships free with the product. There are 2 other versions that add further functionality, for example the ability to link to other databases, and also the ability to schedule reports for automatic distribution. These are chargeable options, which again, for any of you that you are looking to upgrade, we will investigate and explain the differences in greater detail than I just have.
Thanks, Dave. Right. We've referred to a limited user a few times. So what's a limited user? Dave, I'll give that one to you.
Okay, Microsoft are very, very keen on increasing the number of people in organisations that are actually using NAV. One of the constraints on this historically has been the price of licenses. So in order to do that, they've come up with this limited user as a way of increasing the access to NAV in a company, and I'll say at an affordable price. The user has full read capabilities, providing of course that their access privileges allow them to read the data, and also limited write capabilities. Now, explaining what these limited write capabilities are is a little bit more difficult. The restrictions on the write capabilities limit the number of tables that can be written to by the user, and one of the key areas is that this excludes the general ledger. You can't be writing to the general ledger table. There are also some limits. There are a whole pile of tables that every light user can access, and then a small number of additional ones they can access, but these are defined by user. I don't want to go really into the details of how many tables and the combinations on this call, as it does tend to be very specific depending on what the person actually wants to do. But again, during the upgrade process, we'll go through you what the limited user is capable of doing, and also identify if any of your users, or more appropriately any of your additional users, can actually take advantage of this reduced price software.
A final question, I've saved the best till last here. Why do the names Microsoft give the products not match the year they're released? So Dave, you can answer that one, please.
Again, a very good question. The only truthful answer to this is I've absolutely no idea. In my view, it just confuses everyone, and quite often including me. All the products have name codes, but they never get used. We've had Capri, we've had Crete and Sicily, have been recent ones. I very much hope that them calling the product released in 2013 R2 means that in 2014 they're going to name the release 2014, and then so we can all be aligned and we can all absolutely understand which year the product is actually released in.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Okay, everybody, thank you for all your questions. That was really helpful, some good ones there. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to join us this morning. If this webinar has sparked an interest in the R2 update, or if you've got a question that you'd like to ask directly to us, Sarah's going to be the main contact here and she'll be more than happy to help. So on the screen, we've got details of Sarah's contact details here, sarah.harrison@tsg.com, or give her a call on 07970 578 004. And we'll leave the details on the screen as you leave, so you can take them down. But once again, thank you for joining us today. I hope you found it useful. Have a great rest of the day.